Hi everybody, it's John back with another model inbox review. Yes, we're looking at a car, and it's a very unusual car that's not modelled very often. This is actually an Aston Martin Ulster, which was built for the 1935 Le Mans 24-hour race. And it looks like a bit of a beast that should have a massive engine, but it actually only had an inline 4-cylinder 1.5 litre engine. Yeah, it was a 1500cc engine, so the engine inside this car is probably smaller than your average Cortina. But this thing really did shift. Anyway, this is the 1935 Aston Martin Ulster. The kit we're actually looking at is this one. The Matchbox Aston Martin Ulster, made up in two colours. It's actually a three-colour kit with simulated tyres, and you'll see that in the parts in a minute. And this kit is a model that I've been meaning to have a go at quite a lot. The interesting thing about the Matchbox kits is they have a particular place in my heart. I have very fond memories of Matchbox models. When I was a child, I built not a huge number of them, but I did build quite a few. But I never built a car. Never ever built a car from Matchbox at all. Never, not one. So this is going to be my first model car from Matchbox, which is interesting. The original release was 1975, and this was the original release. You can always tell the original release from all the information at the bottom right-hand corner here. Later boxings, I don't think they had that. And the Matchbox logo in the top left-hand corner is the original logo in orange, red, and yellow. And 72nd scale in the blue range. This is actually PK301, which is the first model kit of a car in their blue car range, which was quite nice. 1975 release there. Then in 1979, AMT released the Aston Martin Ulster as a two-colour kit in the American market. You can see the parts inside there. They're quite nice, aren't they? Quite like the look of that. There is a lot of speculation that Matchbox released a lot of kits that were originally released by Pyro. That might be the case with the SSKL Mercedes, which I'll talk about when I do eventually do an inbox review on that kit, because I've got that in my stash as well, because the parts on that kit do look incredibly like the Pyro model of the SSKL Mercedes. So I'm not sure whether they were originally Matchbox moulds, but nobody else did the Aston Martin Ulster. That's the AMT release in 1979. Then in 1986, when Revell had hold of the marketing rights to Matchbox and they changed the image of Matchbox, they released this kit in 1986 with the what I call the Matchbox influenced Matchbox logo from the Revell influenced logo for Matchbox, and this massive big rainbow border at the bottom here. It's the same artwork, but it's marked 32nd scale classic now instead of Matchbox Aston Martin Ulster in the top left hand corner. And the Aston Martin has just been called the Aston Martin on the front of the box, but it is called Ulster on the 5. You see this box is actually quite beaten up, but that's the 86 release. And then in 1995 they also released this kit again. It's virtually the same, but there is a slight difference in this type of window here, and there's an 8+ logo put in the right hand top corner here of the 1995 release. Now I'll leave you a nice image of the Aston Martin Ulster. This is what the car looked like when it entered the Le Mans race in 1935, and this is the car that I'm going to try and copy. I'm not going to use the decals on the Matchbox kit because I don't want to build it as a racing car. I want to build it as a private collector's car, which is probably cheating on the fact that you won't be using the decals, but to be honest with you, when you see the decals you'll probably see the reason why. They're not terribly unusable, but I don't think I'd want to put them on my model. But here we go. Just pan the camera down. Let's have a look at this kit in question. There she is in all her glory. It's a very nice range of kits, the Matchbox kit. I'm not expecting this review to last incredibly long because the kit is virtually all on sprue. I'll get everything out in one go so you can have a look. There we go, everything's out. Box get that out. There we go. Everything is on sprue on this kit, nothing is off sprue, which is great. We'll look at the instructions first and then we'll look at the decals in a minute. The kit's marked as a 2-colour kit, but it's actually a 3-colour kit, and if you include the tyres it's a 4-colour kit. The instructions themselves, they fold into about A5, and this proves that it's an original Type 1 release. It's not a Type 1 box, but it is one of the early releases from 1975. Because the instruction leaflet is blue. The instruction leaflet on the early release kits were always the same colour as the box model range, and in this case it's a blue range kit. PK301, so it's the first model car in their blue range, which is nice. Aston Martin 1/32 scale kit. Some information on the front here, and then in different languages, repeat in different languages, an image, the artwork. On the back you've got the paint call outs, which is quite nice, and hints and tips on painting guides on what to paint, what colours, prior to assembling or during assembly of the car, which is quite nice too. Now then, the kit builds up in 16 different parts, and like typical with Matchbox, the construction flow is quite simple. Basically in section 1 you're just building the interior and the seat floor pan with the gear stick. Section 2 you're building the body shell and the dashboard, steering wheel and the windscreens, and on the back there you've got the boot which houses the spare wheel, and that will actually move, that will actually open up and close, so you don't glue that into position, which is great. Section 3 you're building the chassis and the floor pan of the car. Section 4 you're building the rear axle assembly. Section 5 you're putting the rear axle into place on the chassis assembly you built before. Section 6 you're marrying the body and the chassis, quite easy. Section 7 you're building the front axle assembly, and then you're putting that into position. Sorry, you're putting a couple of parts on, part 23 and 22, which I think is something to do with the braking system. And then section 9 you're putting the anti-roll bar into place. Section 10, couple of bits and bobs on the front there. Section 11 you start to build the engine. It's quite rare to build the engine quite late, isn't it, instead of being one of the first things you put together. You can see it's a 4-cylinder there, twin carb engine. Section 12 you're marrying the front axle assembly to the front of the chassis, and then section 13 you're putting the engine, the grille and the exhaust system into place with the front cover panel over the top. And then in section 14 you're putting the bonnet assembly together. Section 15 you're putting the wheels together. There are 5 of them all together. And section 16 you're just finishing off with the headlamps, mud guards, putting the bonnet into place, the handbrake. There's even a number plate there and all of the wheel nuts, single wheel nuts on the Aston Martin of course. And then you've got a paint guide to finish up, which is quite nice. Yep, quite like that. That's the instructions, quite easy to follow. Decals. Now, I'm not saying these decals are unusable, but they are a little bit damaged. That number 2 that's blackened goes on the grille, so I won't be too worried about that, but I don't think I'm going to be using any of these, except for maybe the number plates. I might use the number plates because CMC 614 is still alive today. It's still, I think it's privately owned now, but it is still alive. Transparencies. A lot of people think the transparencies denote the quality of the kit's plastic. Not so sure myself, but there we go. The transparencies on this kit are actually very clear. Frosted headlamp covers and the windscreens are very crystal clear, as you can see. No, as you'd expect with a Matchbox kit, there's no flash anywhere. Very pleased with those, they look quite good. Rubberized tyres. I'm just going to show you the one rubberized tyre there. You've got a bit of tread on as well, which is nice. Matchbox built a reasonable car kit. They were quite good. I'll have a look at those chrome parts in a minute. We'll look at the two colour parts first. I'm not going to go pedantic through these parts. I'm just going to show you why I think Matchbox kits are reasonably detailed in their car models. I mean, look at the quality of the moulding on those seats. I'm hoping to get it into focus so you can just see it there. There we go. Nicely rendered. The chassis is nicely rendered. The floor pans nicely rendered. Even the engine looks good. There, the brake discs and the housings, nice. Even the steering wheel's quite nicely moulded. Quite like the look of that sprue. That looks quite good. Then you've got the green sprue. Not a lot to have a look at really here. There's the body shell, the bonnets, rear boot, there's the underfloor pan, the chassis members and the mudguards. Quite nice, aren't they? That's the front cover, it's quite nicely moulded as well. The wheel hubs, they're not bad either. They'll paint up nice as well. They'll paint those chrome silver. It's a shame they weren't on this sprue, those wheel hubs, but you can't have everything. And then you've got the chrome sprue, and that's quite nice as well. You can see the engine cover, the alloys, the grill's really nice on this kit, and so is the exhaust system. Look at the exhaust system. Very nice piece of work. Look at the grille. Yeah, I like the look of that. The front of the engine pulley assembly there, it's quite nice. And there's other bits and pieces in chrome there. It's a nice looking kit. The parts are really nice. I was very impressed when I saw my first Matchbox car kit, because this wasn't the first one I bought. The first one I bought, I think, was the MGB, the MG TC Sports. I think that was the first one I bought. But this kit is very, very nice indeed. I'm very much looking forward to putting this together. I'm just wrapping this up so I can get it all into the box. I don't want any of these parts to come off sprue and go missing. Just trying to get replacement parts for Matchbox kits is a real headache. Unless it's an armour kit, because Revell still produce most of the armour kits now. Now then, the model we're doing an in-box review on is the Matchbox Aston Martin Ulster. The model serial number is Blue Range PK301 and its original release date was 1975. The model is moulded in 1/32 scale, and there are decals for an Aston Martin Ulster car number 2 race entrant into the 1935 Le Mans 24-hour race. Now there are 19 parts on a brown plastic sprue, 21 parts on a green plastic sprue, 23 parts on a chrome plated plastic sprue, and 5 parts on a vulcanised rubber sprue. There are also 4 parts on a clear plastic sprue, totalling 72 parts in total. The model should measure about 5 inches long by 2 inches wide by about 1.5 inches high on its wheels. The options and costs are quite limited. They are really limited to 2 different models, but there are 3 options in 32nd scale. The Matchbox kit of the Aston Martin Ulster retails between 10 and 40 quid. Yes, I've seen it go as cheap as 10, and I've seen it sell for as much as £40. Pyro also did a 1.5 litre Mark II Roadster, which the Aston Martin was based on. And this model, I've seen the sprue on this model, not in real life, but I've seen it in photo form, and it's not that bad. Not as good as a Matchbox kit, but it wasn't that bad. And that retails between £10 and £21. And Lifelike Hobbies re-popped the Pyro kit of the 1500 Mark II Roadster, and that retailed for £10 to £20. Conclusions. This will be my first Matchbox car model, and from the reviews they look to be very nice. All of the Matchbox car kits get quite good and quite a lot of praise from the pro builders and the professional reviewers. I like the fact that you get chrome parts and rubber tyres as well as a detailed engine. It can't be bad, can it? Anyway, I hope this video has been of use, and I hope all your modelling projects are running smooth. If you have any questions, queries, anything really that you want to put in the comments, just put them in the comments box below this video. I'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for the next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye for now.